the top gym equipment machines from 2024. What's up, guys? Nathan Clark coming to you from Domination Nation Gym. New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's to you all. Thought I'd make a cool, fun video just reviewing my favorite pieces of 2024 that I've acquired. If you guys are new here, do me a favor, click the link above. Loved it for you to subscribe if you're interested in this content, because you're going to get unique stuff you won't see anywhere else. So believe it or not, guys, crazy. I went through my phone. You know, sometimes we just buy stuff, don't even think about it. From the very beginning of January until now, to see how many pieces of equipment I bought. I was actually astounded. I literally bought 30 machines this year, not including like attachments, little stuff, but these are actually gym equipment machines. And I'm going to go through from my favorite to my least favorite, all 30 machines. Now, that being said, I haven't had a ton of time with some of them. I need more time, maybe another 6 months. I can give you like a definitive final ranking. But this is my initial ranking from 1 to 30. So stay tuned, guys, too, until the end. If I'm feeling bold or vulnerable, I might reveal how much I paid for all these machines. I'm actually kind of scared to go over it and figure it out myself. Hopefully my wife's not watching. So that being said, none of these are quote-unquote bad machines. I'm very, very, very selective with what I buy. You're not going to find regular hammer strength, life fitness stuff in commercial gyms. I don't buy that stuff anymore because the majority of it doesn't interest me. It's just generic. There's nothing special, unique about it. Again, my mission is to compile the most unique arrangement of equipment anywhere, and particularly after I've modified a lot of these. You won't find anything like it anywhere else. All right, so number 30 is the Max Pump ISO bench press. Believe it or not, of the 30 I'm going to show you, this is the only piece I don't have anymore that I sold, because I was a little underwhelmed with it. I've seen this on Instagram. There's two handles, this rotating handle in front and this handle in back. The seat adjusts back and forth in a couple different degrees up and down. The main objective of the movement is to almost mimic like a squeeze press. So I'll show you a few things that I like to do with it and get. So you can see a couple different handles. I'll start out with these handles here and I'll move to the handles in the back. So this is where you actually feel the movement. It's the bottom 2/3 of the movement, bottom half of the movement probably more likely, that you actually feel tension. The top of the movement just feels a little off. These handles are a little harder than the handles in front. You can do this for reps and contraction, which is probably the best way to use this machine, like a time under tension technique. It's not something you're necessarily going to put a bunch of weight on and just do 5 to 7 reps. At least that's not how I like to use it. But the handles are very comfortable, very interesting machine. The best part of the machine is the bottom part of the movement, because it's almost forcing, it's like trying to tear your pecs apart. So you get a crazy stretch. You know, like I said, it's decent. These handles are decent. Sometimes hard to figure out the best way to use it, but using it a lot, I'm going to show you in a second, my favorite way to use it is one arm at a time. But it's kind of a cool thing you can superset and work on. This is me just doing one arm at a time. You're going to see I kind of turn to the side a little bit and really focus on that stretch. So this is the best part of the movement. It literally feels like it's tearing that pec. When you turn to the side, you feel crazy stretch at the bottom third of the movement. So I almost would sometimes just sit here and put some heavy weight on it and just hold that bottom set stretch like you would for a DC training where you're just holding the stretch. Works phenomenally well. A little awkward at the top part of the movement, so but this one arm at a time feels fantastic. You can see it, I've kind of contorted my body to this side. It looks funky, but it feels phenomenal as far as chest stimulation. You can see my hips are totally turned to the side. So when I first saw other people using this, I'm like, man, that's going to hit the inner chest amazing, like a squeeze press. But the more I've used it, the more it's really for the bottom stretch position and not really the middle chest, honestly. Number 29 is the Bolt pull down. So benefits of this: very cheap, very inexpensive, easily to obtain. I just did a video I'll show you using this. move in and out. In its original form, it's decent, but in its modified form, way better than the original form. And, you know, I prefer it over the traditional flex leverage pull down. So one of the main benefits is the seat that moves in and out. That allows you to do just a traditional pull down or kind of a high row movement. The freedom of handles is fantastic. I actually sometimes will like to do this kneeling in front of the machine. I'll show you in a later video. My modifications just make it that much better. The material is cheap quality. That's one of the downsides. It's not like 7-gauge steel. It's not as sturdy as the original flex leverage. Biomechanically, functional wise, I think it's comparable in its original form, but much better in its modified form. Number 28 is the Nautilus Power Plus lateral raise. So I'll show you in a second. It only really feels good if you have your arms extended. It's not very good machine if you use it like this. I'll show you how I like to use it. So notice my arms are out in front, almost like a Y raise. So I'm not grabbing the handles. My arms stick out straight. It gives you much better tension through the motion. The issue is right there. See how that stopper needs cut off. The range of motion shouldn't be limited. This is the other thing that makes it, this is probably the best way to use it. Turn slightly to the side, one arm at a time. In this fashion, tremendously effective movement. The traditional way, I just don't like grabbing a handle like this. Well, definitely on my list to modify. So smooth, very smooth. I need to cut the stoppers off. I need to modify the strength curve. It's going to be fantastic. 27 is this homemade black lateral raise. I bought it from another gym bro who just kind of modified it himself. I'm going to show you. All right, so you guys know I love lateral raise machines. I consider myself a lateral raise machine connoisseur. So the benefit of this, look at that range of motion. So really cool. That half cam there allows the range of motion to be crazy up top. Fantastic movement. The downside is the handles don't go in and out. They're fixed in one plane and they're too short. Once I make the handles longer and I'm able to use it facing out as well as facing in, it's going to be phenomenal. All right, number 26 is the Atlantis incline lever row. This is the newer version D125 that has these extra handles up top. And I had the old version for a while before I sold it. You can see I've modified this to make it even better. All right, so I'll give you just a quick demo. There's so many handle options now. The main benefit is the stable position. You're able to do this movement with your feet in front of you. Almost every traditional incline lever row or T-bar row, your feet are behind you, and that can put some lower back strain. This takes a lot of the lower back strain out of it. You can see it puts you in a great position to just shove your chest against the pad as hard as you can and row. You can see I'm just, depending on the handle I use, you adjust the butt pad up or down. But the benefit of this one versus the old one, it does have that semi-supinated grip I'll show you in a second. This wide handle feels fantastic. Sometimes with heavy weight, you have to do like a reverse band. So that's the only downside of this. And the other potential downside is handles don't rotate. You have to just position your body correctly. A lot of people don't seem to be able to position their torso in the right length in relation to their pulling angle sometimes with these machines. So that's why I see a major issue. This is one of the handles I added. I'm more or less standing. So the benefit of these handles I added, I'm more or less able to get on top of the weight. Gives me a slightly different pulling angle, and you can just fry the entire back with just this one machine. You can see I love these high semi-supinated handles. I'm able to really hit the lower lat well. But the biggest challenge with these machines is positioning your torso in the right position. Crazy good. I don't know. That's number 26. Could be number 2, number 3. It's like number 25 is the Hoist Rocket plate-loaded mid-row. Now I owned this before I sold it. And I owned the Selectorized for a while. Great machine too. I just didn't have room for both of them. But I came back to the plate load because I realized how good it was. Some cool features. See how the seat pad moves in and out so you can actually lean into it like you're doing a traditional row. And I'm going to show you, I've actually modified this handles and I've modified the strength. I've honestly been so busy modifying other equipment, I haven't really had a chance to fully use this. This is definitely better than number 25, but I just put it number 25 just because. So you can see, obviously, with the original machine, you can do standing, slightly bent over, or standing upright. So these are the handles I added. Check that. The neutral handles, the semi-supinated and the semi-pronated, and that snap ring up top. Phenomenal. It gives you a great line of pull depending on the height of your seat. And there's just endless options to pull from here. So these semi-supinated handles I added hit phenomenally well. Again, you can do them standing, kind of slightly standing, or completely seated. And you can make them upper back, middle back, or lower back, depending on how far out you have the chest pad. So I'll have to do a full review of this machine. It's absolutely phenomenal. The cool thing is I can add any attachment I want up here. I'm not even sure why that's number 25. That thing is absolutely phenomenal. I haven't had a ton of time to play with it yet since I've modified it, but the strength curve is way better now. The handle options, the ability to use it seated or standing, just phenomenal. 24 is the Strive Medical upright hack squat machine. So I guess I haven't made a ton of videos about these machines yet. You can find them decently reasonable online. They're not as rare as you'd think they'd be. But these things are so sophisticated, the most sophisticated line of machines ever made. It trumps Medix. It trumps Medix medical machines. These are just so good, but there's a huge learning curve with knowing how to use these machines. You can make it heavy, light, anywhere you want. There's 4 different quadrants. There's a whole science behind how you use this. But this machine, I've just barely learned how to use. I love it for calf raises, and I love it for step-ups especially, but it works great with the squat. The one issue with the machine is you have to start at the bottom position. That's the only problem. But probably my favorite machine to do calf raises on and to do one-legged step-ups, because I can make it heavier until where my legs are the strongest at the top and lighter at the bottom where I'm the weakest, and I want that crazy stretch-mediated hypertrophy. Number 23 is this bicep machine. I'm not even sure the manufacturer. I bought it off a dude in California. This is his gym, Ultraflex Fitness, I believe. Brand new powder coat. Great machine. It mimics the Nautilus compound bicep. I'll show you here. Crazy smooth machine. The cam is absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to modify this. I'm building up the guts and the confidence to modify it, how I think it will be absolutely phenomenal. The issue with this machine and the compound bicep is it's too forward. Like you really can only use it comfortably one arm at a time. But once I change the position and make it more of a true peak bicep curl, I'm still trying to get the guts to take a chance to do it, but great machine. If anybody knows the manufacturer, let me know. All right, number 22 is the Strive Medical Bicep Curl. Now, I just showed you the hack squat. This is the bicep curl version. One of the most sophisticated selectorized bicep machines out there. To me, it trumps any other traditional selectorized preacher curl ever, because there's so many options and with it. The issue is the machine, the handle is off. So I barely just modified. You can see the handle is way too long, so I shortened it quite a bit to get a better stretch, and you can see I added hammer curls and reverse curls. Absolutely phenomenal. I'll have to show you in a separate video what it's like. But just a great machine. All right, number 21 is this dual hip extension machine. I've literally only used it twice, so maybe it's not a true honest review. Fantastic machine. Again, even though these rankings may be in the 20s, doesn't mean they're bad machines. I just haven't had as much time, or I don't maybe personally prefer them as much as the others. I'll show you. I just used it the other day. Great with bands. I added a band attachment. I'm gonna modify it a little bit of the strength curve, but phenomenal machine to isolate glutes. What makes it unique is the ability to do a true hip extension movement, to isolate more glutes than just hamstrings and adductors. So I've got several, reverse hyperextension benches. This is what makes this movement unique, is with your feet high, the hip pad all the way down. I like to have my toes pushing through my toes like it's a crazy glute pump. The potential issue is you're loading only from one side and not two. I haven't played around with it enough yet to see if that really makes a difference, but I love this movement here already. So this is based out of a company in Texas, I believe Premier. So it's kind of a remake, Chinese remake. The quality is not horribly great, but functionally the machine is fantastic. Number 20 is the first generation UCS unilateral bilateral leg press. So I'd owned this before and sold it, kind of regretted it, and I was very fortunate to find it reasonable used online. So many cool options. Honestly, the beefiest linear leg press I've ever used. And I've used a ton of leg presses. I'll show you a clip. But to me, I think it's better than the Nebula and the Arsenal because of the angle you can recline the seat at. and get full hip extension because of the angle of the foot plate. Those are the main benefits. The main drawback is it doesn't have shoulder pads, which I'm hopefully going to modify this year if I can get to it, when I get to it. But as far as like linear leg press, the unilateral bilateral option is amazing. The range of motion comfortably is phenomenal. You know, just me personally, I still prefer leverage leg presses over linear leg presses. But as far as a linear leg press goes, our number 19 is this homemade lateral raise. I'll show you some footage of my brother using it recently. Phenomenal machine. Honestly, in my opinion, currently, I think it's better than the Atlantis E352, which I have as well. That one needs modified a little bit. But the ability to face in and face out, and the free mobility of the handles, and the full range of motion is fantastic. You're going to notice with this one and the black one I showed you, you can come all the way freaking up. As opposed to the E352, you can only do that one arm at a time.
Yeah, so notice the range of motion. Again, it's this half moon, half circular shaped cam. That's the magic with both of these, this black and this red machine. The beauty of this one is there's an elbow that moves and rotates in and out, so the handle's not fixed. The cool thing with this as well is you can adjust the length of the handle. That's the issue with E352.
All right, number 18 is this Atlantis first generation leverage pull-down. Really unique. Similar to the hoist rocket, and then it's a diverging, really upper back based movement. You can see I've modified it. These are the original handles here. This I've added, I've added the horns, the snap rings as well to put any attachment on it. And you can see I've altered the strength curve. I put a video on this on Instagram not too long ago. I absolutely love first generation Atlantis stuff. Some of the best machines ever made, particularly the plate loaded. The plate loaded roll I can show you I have. Now I'll show you actually in a minute here, the new Atlantis Decline. Plate loaded leverage chest press upright. The pull down, the chest press, the first generation chest press is phenomenal as well. Just very, very sophisticated linkage leverage system that's so freaking smooth. I love first generation plate loaded Atlantis. I'd say the one downside of the machine is it's very, very wide. In my opinion, like the uniqueness of it merits the space, but it may not be the case in some check this out. Number 17 is this Panada remake pullover. So this is the same company that I showed you that dual hip extension. These guys are Premier, I think, based out of Texas. I think I may be the first and only person that's actually bought this from them. They just barely came out with this. So it's the same exact replica of Panada. I priced it from Panada. They want like $12,000 freaking dollars for their pullover. Not even close to worth it. You can get it at a fraction of the cost from these guys. So I'll show you a video of me using it.
So I just barely modified this. I haven't had a chance to actually paint anything. If you saw my Instagram stories, I kind of put a picture of this on it. Very, very smooth machine. I added some semi-supinated handles and some neutral handles, as you'll see. You can see that I've altered the strength curve. The main issue with this machine in its original form, as well as the Panada, is the strength curve is way off. It gets so hard at contraction, it's very hard to get a peak contraction. The smoothness of this, the adjustability of it, though, outweighed that. That's why I wanted to buy it, because I knew if I made these changes, it could be one of the best pullovers. So freaking smooth. The ability to adjust the seat in and out is phenomenal. I need a lot more time with this, but I'm actually absolutely in love with this machine. The modifications especially.
In its unmodified form, it's just okay. Honestly, to me, it's too close to the Nautilus Power Plus pullover in its unmodified form that I probably wouldn't have it. I think the Power Plus pullover in its original form is better than this in its original form. But in the modified form, you can see where I've altered the strength curve and added some handles. It's very, very, very close, and I'm going to compare all my pullovers soon. But very, very, very smooth machine. The thing with this, the footprint's a little bit big, so I actually cut the weight horns and made my own weight horns to make it more narrow, but so freaking smooth. The benefit of this over the Power Plus is the ability to move the seat up and back. So shorter people with shorter arms, you move it up and you get a better stretch. All right, number 16 is the Nautilus Power Plus seated leg curl. So I just barely worked on this. I'll show you in a separate video how I've modified it. And I realized after modifying, I'm going to change it a little bit more. In its original form, it's okay. It's so smooth, like very hard to find a seated leg curl that's that smooth. It's just it lacks pre-stretch in its original form. But I think honestly it's better than the leg extension. Everyone raves about the leg extension. The leg extension's okay, but it's not near as good as a lot of other leg extensions. But I'll show you just a quick demo of me using this modified form. So smooth. Honestly, in my opinion, once I'd make a couple more changes, that will be the best seated leg curl in existence. Check this out. Number 15 is the Strive 2nd generation plate-loaded shoulder press. So smooth. The beauty of this versus like the later model Strives is that it runs off a belt and cam. So the movement arm is not directly attached. There's a feeling of linkage or leverage when you use it. So it makes it that much smoother. The issue with it is the handles are way off. They're way too long and they're off. I haven't gotten a chance to modify it. But honestly, once I modify it, this very well may be the best plate-loaded shoulder press in existence, in all honesty. I have a feeling it will be once I'm done with it. There's some steep competition with some other stuff I've got. But to me, I like this better than the first generation. First generation is very similar, but the first generation, the footprint is so freaking huge. It comes way out here. It's a decent footprint as it is, but the footprint's much smaller than the larger first generation. The first generation is cool too, but the footprint's huge. The beauty of this is the ability to push that seat in and out, and I'll have to do a separate video of this, to press facing the machine or press away from the machine. Way better than the current Strive or Prime plate-loaded shoulder press by 100 miles, honestly. It just needs fixed. The handles is the Raw Motive Works standing ISO row machine. I just showed you this in a recent video of me modifying. I actually just modified it again since that video. Absolutely phenomenal. Like, I've made most of my row machines so they can be versatile in a standing or seated position, so I thought this might be obsolete or moot or redundant or superfluous, but definitely not. Like, these handles are absolutely phenomenal. They mimic like a Medex type handle. So you can see I've modified the strength here. I've made this Strive or Prime-esque. And I realized after doing that, it feels phenomenal. But one more thing on it will make it unbelievably good. I forgot to add band pegs. If I had band pegs on it, it would be absolutely perfection. But you can see the different angles I've added. The semi-supinated grip doesn't come with the machine. It comes with the neutral or the overhand prone grip. Absolutely phenomenal machine. I mean, honestly, I think it's the best machine that Raw Motive Works makes. Our number 13 is the Mega Mass Fitness pendulum or swing squat. This thing's an absolute beast. I'll show you some footage of me using it.
So in this particular setting, I have it at its furthest away and lowest setting, so it's all quad. So way, way harder than having the foot plate towards you and almost completely vertical, which is how most people use this. So you can see I've barely got 20 pounds on each side, and I'm getting a crazy burn and pump.
Learning how to use it, great machine. The versatility of it is phenomenal. I'm soon gonna be comparing it to the original swing squat. The versatility is phenomenal, very heavy duty. It's just a little wide. I'm gonna do a couple modifications on this thing. You know, I talked to Leo and I made him add this because if this did not have reverse bands, you can't. It's too heavy. It's way too heavy in the bottom position where you're the weakest. I talked to Leo and made him add this to the machine. It makes a massive difference to have a reverse band to it. Otherwise, the machine is very hard to use. The issue with this, it's very heavy. I don't like that the pad is so long here so that your lumbar spine, you really need a pillow underneath your lumbar spine. And I also think he's supposed to send me new pads. Well, once these things are longer, it will be so much better because you'll be able to use it facing into the pad and not just away from the pad. But phenomenal machine by itself. The one issue will be the strength component. You know, you're going to see most of the people that use this machine, they almost always have it in the glute setting. You see very rare if any of them will have it in the quad setting because it's way too hard. way too humbling. A lot of people can't even, won't be able to even do their body weight, let alone add weight, because it's, the carriage is very, very heavy. 12 is the Explode plate-loaded incline chest press. So I've shown videos on here before. In its original form, it's okay. It's not fantastic. In its original form, as I've mentioned in a separate video, the strength curve is definitely off. But you can see the modifications I added. I just recently added this handle here too. So the handle options here, 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 and here. The ability to adjust the pad back and forth to increase stretch, increase upper chest versus mid and lower chest. And the altered strength curve make it absolutely phenomenal. This could be my number one. As you'll see, I just kind of have a preference to leg machines sometimes. But absolutely phenomenal machine in its modified form. In its unmodified form, like I said, I would probably jump on the bandwagon and sell it for like $5 grand or $6 grand, what these people are selling it for online, because I don't think it's that good in its unmodified form. Number 11 is this cross-axis incline chest press. So I just recently made a short on there. I'll link the short above. Phenomenal machine. I love the angle. Very good strength curve. The beauty of these machines is the stretch on these cross-axis machines. The stretch is unlike any other machine. In its unmodified form, it's okay. The existing handles are okay. You know, you want to grab this handle wide. The issue with the existing handles, when you grab it comfortably, it doesn't converge enough. So you can see I've added these angled handles, which make it phenomenal. It's a very, very smooth machine. The one issue that we run into is your height. I wish that the bottom pad could be detachable, because it's such a mild incline. If the bottom pad could detach, you could adjust your torso in a much better position. But you're kind of stuck by your torso length. If you're a really tall guy, it might be an issue. I have it at the lowest setting sometimes, and I can barely comfortably get my pecs in the right position. I'm only about 6'1". Some of you bigger guys might have some issue, but very, very smooth machine. I'm getting close to comparing all my incline chest presses soon, but love having this machine. Number 10 is the MegaMass Linear Row. So I'll include some footage of me using it on here.
So my favorite handles are the semi-supinated. You just turn the handle from a semi-supinated to a semi-pronated, but keep the seat down at about a 3 setting. Semi-supinated feels phenomenal. Put it up to about a 5 setting, then you turn it to semi-pronated. The further you go vertical, there's 10 different seat settings. You can grab the straight handle, but very comfortable. See the lower back pad? That's what makes it phenomenal.
Great machine, very unique. A lot of people are coming out with these linear rows. To my opinion, this is the best linear row on the market because of the adjustability, the ability to change the handles from semi-supinated to semi-pronated, the ability to adjust the back pad in so many positions. You can see, I was just using this yesterday doing RDLs at its highest position. Very unique. I think it's probably one of the best machines that Leo makes. But great design, smaller footprint, but just a unique way. The beauty of his machine too is that pad. You have a lumbar pad to lock your lower body in place, to take the lower back and lumbar strain. Is the Max Pump Decline Fly machine. So number 30, I actually sold number 30. The ISO bench press to get this one instead. This is a much better machine in my opinion. This puts you in a perfect position to do a pec fly. So smooth. I'm going to alter the strength curve here soon. But honestly, on the top 5 list of pec fly machines ever made, it's that good in my opinion. Even though there's not a whole lot of versatility, the way it sets you up to comfortably engage the entire pec, the angle, the trajectory of how you fly is just absolutely phenomenal. Number 8 is the Atlantis Fitness Decline Leverage Chest Press. So this is a brand new machine. They have an upright traditional chest press and a decline. I think the decline is better. The fantastic machine. It's got a pre-stretched foot pedal. Actually, pretty good stretch. The benefit of this machine versus other ones is the ability to push this pad in and out to increase the stretch or to give you better convergence or less convergence. A lot of chest presses, this pad is fixed, unfortunately, but the ability to push this in and out is one of the best features. The leverage is very, very smooth. You can see I just barely alter the strength curve. Makes it absolutely phenomenal. I'll put some footage in there.
So this is me just using it, honestly, for the first time since I modified it. The strength curve is now perfect. The existing horns are good. They're just a little too hard in the stretch, and they don't taper quite enough. So This added horn gives me a much better taper, and it's not quite as heavy in the stretch position. This is actually, just playing around with it, my favorite way to use it right now. Turn to the side and do press through, one arm press throughs, because the contraction is now crazy with that new horn. But yeah, I'm gonna play with this a lot just to get a better feel for it.
I wanted to use this for a while before I decided on adding handles, but I'm definitely going to add some handles after using it again. But just a great machine from Atlantis Fitness. They just make quality stuff. The issue is obviously the footprint. It's very wide. It's almost 6 feet. I think it's 6 feet wide at its widest. The other cool thing, actually, I forgot to tell you, it's got band pegs. Really cool. Doing like time under tension sets with bands on it. Built-in band pegs. Phenomenal feature. Makes me want to do that on more chest press machines. Number 7 is the Cross-Axis Tech Trap Pull. Now you can see, I'll link above a video I just made, but that was before I modified it. I've since modified it, as you can see. It's a very unique machine. Honestly, it's in a category of its own. As I mentioned in the video, there are very few trap machines that are really any good. This is the best trap machine I've ever used, and I think that exists. And now I've made it so that you can use it as an incline row, an upright row, or a face in and out shrug machine. The handles I've added, I'll have to show a separate video, are absolute perfection. I've added some snap rings as well to put wrist wraps on it so you can take your wrist or your grip out of it. It's a fantastic machine, one of Henry's better machines. In its unmodified form, it's okay. It's good. I would probably still own it in its unmodified form because it's that unique. In its modified form, it's a 10 out of 10. So number 6 is the Medex Avenger first generation leg extension. I showed this in one of the videos not too long ago. I was always on the fence about this machine, but the only reason I really got it was because it's the first generation. The ability to brace your feet and get an isometric contraction while you do the movement is fantastic. The stretch on this is better, the pre-stretch lever. And notice the leverage system. There's a counterweight here and a counterweight here. It makes the thing so freaking smooth. Now I think I am going to modify the strength curve a little bit, which I think it'll make it even better. But as it is, it's a 9.5 out of 10 in all honesty. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these pads out a little bit. It needs a little teeny bit more of a stretch so your shins come a little further out. But honestly, I was very surprised with how good this machine is. And I've already got 10 other leg extensions, so it's fantastic. Moving on to number 5, like I said, I told you I have a preference to leg machines, is the Fortis Fitness wall squat machine. I got this earlier in the year. I love doing this for calves, but facing in, facing out, very unique stimulus. The pad's phenomenal. You can add bands, reverse bands. The adjustability, the ability to hit your quads in a safe way makes it very unique. I absolutely love this machine.
All right, here's some sped up footage from the beginning of the year. So you can see you can use it facing in. Works phenomenally well. Look at the depth you can get. Just very comfortably, you can get a lot of depth with no back pain. It's much easier facing in than it is facing out. Here it is facing out, which is much more challenging. Shove your back against the pad as hard as you can. Literally no lower back strain. I love this because of the depth I can get and the crazy quad stimulation. I mean, in all honesty, I don't use a linear hack squat a whole lot. I prefer this to even just my Atlantis linear hack, which is still one of my favorites. Just because I feel this more.
Is the Pro Maxima hack squat. I still got to change the upholstery. Got this early in the year. Fantastic machine. Once you use a machine like this, it makes me hardly ever use a linear hack squat anymore because this is so much more comfortable on your lower back and there's so much better tension throughout the movement without any axial compression on your spine.
So this is me using it early in the year. I've since added a seatbelt and I've kind of modified the foot plate, but you can kind of appreciate that motion, how instead of at the very bottom third of the movement, the force is not going through your spine. It actually flexes your hips and your torso back, so it keeps the tension on your legs at that bottom third. Definitely a humbling machine, but Really love this piece.
You can see kind of added to the foot plate. I still have to paint this. I'm going to change one more thing with the weight horns. Where this allows me to do a sissy movement facing into the machine. I got to show you this movement. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Not necessarily the best angle here, but my toes and my feet are forward, so it's mimicking a sissy squat but facing into the machine. This is definitely one of my new favorite quad movement variations. Makes this machine even better having that angled lowered foot plate.
Number 3 is the Cross Axis Tech pull under. So I'll link above a video of me having my oldest use it on its modified form. But it's one of Henry's better machines, honestly. I love the Cross Axis Tech stuff. This is probably one of his top 3 machines, honestly. The reason is the way this is set up, you get max excursion. So the strength curve as it exists is absolutely perfect. Where some of his other rows, you know, there's not as much excursion. The strength curve isn't quite as good, although they're very unique. I kind of showed you this before, but the modifications I've made with these handles and the snap ring at the bottom take probably a 9 out of 10 machine to a 10 out of 10 machine. Number 2 is the Strive Medical Prone Leg Curl machine. I'll link above the video I already made of this, showing the versatility of it. It's a phenomenal machine. Again, I have a preference to leg machines. That's kind of why I've ranked it so high. But I just absolutely love this machine and the ability to make the tension perfect at the right range of motion, heavier at that bottom to middle 2/3 and lighter at the top. And the ability to do drop sets. I just absolutely love this machine. The best selectorized leg curl in existence, in my opinion. But what happens is people that there is absolutely a learning curve with how to use the Strive Medical machines. Most people aren't going to take the time or even going to know how to use it. So what do you guys think will be the number 1 machine? I honestly can't believe I bought 30 machines this year. Just shows you how bad the addiction is. But the number 1 machine, again, I could rank any of these number 1 in all honesty. I just kind of went with my gut writing down the list. Number 1 machine this year that I bought, in my opinion, is the Cross Axis Tech inverted leg press.
This is my daughter using it earlier in the year. I want you to notice the angle that you're pressing at. It's kind of a hybrid between a 45 degree and a vertical. It's the perfect angle, in my opinion, to hit glutes, adductors. So it's like, to me, it replaces any vertical leg press.
So I have yet to make a full review because I'm going to modify this and make it even better. As it exists, it makes every single vertical leg press completely obsolete. It's the best vertical slash traditional squat press machine in the world, in my opinion, because of the leverage system itself, how sophisticated it is, the angle of the foot plate, the angle of your back, and just the feel of it. I'm going to change it a little bit to make it even better. But as it exists, it's such a freaking phenomenal. So I'm actually kind of nervous to tally all this up because it's kind of embarrassing how much I spend on gym equipment, particularly coming from someone who can't write this stuff off. Again, a lot of the cost is defrayed by selling other stuff, but man, I'm still nervous. It takes freaking forever to film, which is one of the reasons I'm envious of these professional YouTubers that have a whole team. But yeah, I just tallied up how much I spent. Let me know in the comments right now what you guys think, how much you guys think I spent. I forget, like, you just buy the stuff and you don't take into account how much you've spent on it. So I would say about 1/3 of the cost of the equipment I spent on this year, I've been able to defray by selling other equipment. But this is how much I spent this year on gym equipment. I'm definitely grateful for a forgiving wife understanding. You know, I'm a really good provider, and she gives me a little laxity, but I don't want her to see how much to spend. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. This is kind of just a random fun video I decided to spontaneously do just to review. I didn't realize I'd bought 30 pieces of equipment this year. Again, that's just the machines. That's not like little attachments and stuff. So of those, what are you most interested in seeing a review on? Which one is your favorite? Or which one would you guys want to try the most? Like, comment, subscribe below. Have an amazing day.